very warm welcome to Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series 30. Respected dignitaries, Narayana Gowda sir, President INSEE, Director General Dr. P. Chandrasekhara sir, Manage, Dr. V.V. Sadamate sir, Agriculture Extension Specialist and former Advisor to Niti Aayog, and dear faculty, Manage Fellows, staff, and particularly my dear participants of Jai Jawan Kisan program and also Climate Change Adaptation with ICT Tools program. Thank you so much for your presence here for this Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series 30. This Manage is conducting so many programs mainly for the agriculture extension for middle level and senior officers. We have so much of experience, expertise, knowledge across the world. And to reach this knowledge and expertise, particularly for the farming community and also at the extension officers at down level, particularly at the village level and even block level also, it's a very limited extent. And we have so much of knowledge, and this knowledge we thought in Manage, it's better to provide some knowledge and experience and also expertise and extension systems to down below level, and it will be useful for the farming community and also extension officers. For this, we thought it's to have some program, that's the Manage Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series. In this series, we are inviting different experienced and knowledgeable experts and eminent persons across the world, and we are conducting this Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lectures series, and 29 series already it was uploaded in Manage YouTube channel, and now 30th series is going to be organized today. This is the main concept of Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series, and these lecture series we are capturing into videos, and these videos we are uploading into Manage YouTube channel and also social media, and also we are sending these YouTubes to more than 1 lakh extension professionals across the world, and they are using and utilizing these inputs, and they are going to use also these inputs throughout the country, throughout the world, and mainly for their own respective activities wherever they are in, and they are using this information also. And these series are till now mostly extension officers from different departments, agriculture universities, and students and faculties of different organizations, and also Manage, and Samitis, EEIs, NGOs, KVKs, ICR institutions, and also public and private organizations, and also public at large. They are using this information and utilizing this information particularly from these eminent persons. And we are very much privileged to have Dr. Professor Narayana Gowda sir, President International Society of Extension Education, that is INSEE, Nagpur, Maharashtra, and former Vice Chancellor, University of Agriculture Sciences, Bengalore. And today, and also we are very much fortunate enough to have our Dr. V.V. Sadamate sir, Agriculture Extension Specialist and former Advisor for Niti Aayog. And today's topic from our Chief, Dr. Narayana Gowda sir, is on how to strengthen farmers producers organization. You all know about this farmers producers organizations is implementing across the country, and it's very important to mobilize the farmer and empower the farmer through farmers producers organizations also. Welcome you sir for this Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series 30, and welcome Dr. V.V. Sadamate sir. Thank you sir. Now I request our Director General Dr. P. Chandrasekhara ji to introduce our eminent person, Dr. Professor K. Narayana Gowda sir, for this August gathering. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Renaka. Good morning to all of you. I am very happy to see participants representing Jai Jawan Kisan program, and climate change and adaptation participants are also there. My colleagues from Manage, and we are honored to have most respected speaker, Dr. K. Narayana Gowda, and needs no introduction in extension circle, that too in Manage. Dr. Narayana Gowda was a former Vice Chancellor of US Bangalore, University of Agriculture Sciences, Bangalore, and he is the present President of International Society of Extension Education, and also he is president of Dr. M.H. Gowda Education and Research Foundation, Bangalore, and vice president Forum of Former Vice Chancellors of Karnataka. So all the coveted responsibilities are handled by Dr. Narayana Gowda sir, and he was also my respected teacher during my student days. And we are fortunate to have another respected dignitary in the field of agricultural extension, Dr. V.V. Sadamate, and he was a pillar of Krishi Bhavan, served Krishi Bhavan for more than 3.5 decades, and also he served as advisor agriculture in earlier planning commission. Now it is called Niti Ayog. So one of the important role he played during his tenure is he opened the gate and windows of Krishi Bhavan and Niti Ayog, that is former planning commission, to every citizen of cutting across different socio-economic strata from different parts of the country at all levels to these two great institutions, and truly a participatory man in nature. Sir, on behalf of Manage, I would like to welcome Narayana Gowda sir and Dr. Sadamate sir. I would like to highlight only 2 points. Number one, what is this Krishi Gyandeep knowledge lecture, and why we have invited Dr. K. Narayana Gowda? These 2 questions I would like to answer. Actually, we have around 6.25 lakh villages, and our extension workers are working at grassroots level. Always we tell them that global thinking and local action. But what is the institutional mechanism we have to connect global thinking with local action? It is not there. They have to read newspaper or to listen from someone, but we don't have an institutional mechanism to link one of the most experienced professionals like Dr. K. Narayana Gowda and Dr. V.V. Sadamate with the last mile extension worker in the country. So Manage has come out with Krishi Gyandeep knowledge lecture series, where we will not make any PowerPoint presentation. They will speak from their heart, and they share their experience of lifetime when they are working in different agriculture development activities. So we all know that we completed BSc agriculture, but when we first take up the job, we think that everything is new. What we studied is not there in the field. So there is a gap between what we study in college within 4 walls and what we see when we remove the walls and go to the field. So how to bridge this gap? Bridging this gap is called the practice of extension. Today, if any speaker is using this platform, probably it is a practice of extension. Their lifetime experience they are sharing with extension functionaries. So we have successfully completed 29 series. The speakers, they come and share their lifetime experiences, and we convert into film, we edit it, and this film of 45 minutes followed by interaction will reach more than 1 lakh stakeholders associated with Manage, not only within the country but also outside the country, throughout global. Another advantage is these talks will become part of a Manage YouTube channel. So we have around 1500 films, and every talk will enrich the Manage YouTube channel. More than 36,000 viewers are there as on date, and this is also serving another important aspect. Whenever training institutions, capacity building organizations, whether it is an NGO, agribusiness company, or university or ICR organizations, if they want to conduct any capacity building organization, if they want to invite the best of the best professionals at national level or global level, probably they look at Manage Krishi Gyandeep knowledge lecture series, because the synthesis of their 30, 40, 50 years of life experience is confined into 45 minutes, and that is readily available to play in the classroom, which can retain the attention of the participants. So this is the purpose, and it is going very successfully benefiting extension fraternity. Now the second point, my duty to introduce the honorable speakers of today's program. Professor K. Narayana Gowda is of course former Vice Chancellor of US Bangalore and present President of International Society of extension education, and he worked in agriculture university on 14 different responsibilities, starting from the earlier instructor till he became dean and honorable vice chancellor. During 2010 to 2014, he was vice chancellor of one of the prestigious agriculture university in this country, and he was also a gold medalist for outstanding performance in PhD as a student, and he also guided around 11 MSc AG and 11 PhD students. And he also brought as an educationalist in agriculture education several reforms. Number one, he brought refinement in the examination system. See, normally exam means they will give some question paper and you write it. And rethinking was brought into entire examination system, and a lot of reforms. I will not get into details, but examination system was refined so that the correct knowledge of candidates are tested. The second one, professor was instrumental in introducing common entrance test for BSc Agriculture. See, earlier only marks were considered, but no additional entrance examination. So this entrance examination, on par with the medical and engineering, brought some professional dignity to agriculture aspirants, number one. Number two, it also brought a lot of transparency. See, you can't, change the marks. You are hearing about NEET exam. See, anything goes wrong, people will come to know. Such a transparent system was brought in agriculture entrance examination. Then RAVE program is a very popular program for agriculture universities. Students spend more than 6 months in field, and he brought lot of reforms in RAVE program. And in Manage, we are trying to develop a green agri institution development initiatives. You find more green here than any other color, and probably this was also tried by a professor in agriculture university. Solar energy, biomethane and biofuel energy, very liberally used, institutionalized, so that other organizations can also make use of that. He is personally directly responsible for promotion of 8 farmer producers organizations, which are very successful. Now also he maintains good contact and he guides them. And one of the most popular program called ARYA, Attracting and Retaining Youth in Agriculture. That program was conceived by the committee chaired by Professor Narayana Gowda, and he published around 80 papers, wrote 14 books, and he was also project leader for more than 6 important projects, and he headed around 24 important committees bringing agriculture development. And during his tenure, University of Agriculture Sciences, Bengalore, got Sardar Patel Best Institution Award of ICR, which is given to Best Agriculture University during 2013. And many more things are there, but let us listen from Professor Narayana Gowda. Sir, welcome to Manage on behalf of Manage family. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to every one of you. Honorable Director of this very premier institution, Manage, Dr. P. Chandrasekhara, and my colleague, friend, and philosopher also on many issues, Dr. S. Sadamate, former advisor to Planning Commission, and Dr. Renuka Rani, the head of this particular novel initiative of Manage, Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series, and all the faculty members of this institution. And of course, 2 streams of participants are there. Of course, I had the privilege of addressing one set of participants earlier, particularly those who have come from the defense background, and very happy to meet each one of you. Of course, the topic that has been chosen for me, how to strengthen farmers, producers, organizations. Of course, it is more dearer to me than anything else, for the reason, if at all, if the farmers are to be developed in this country, elsewhere in the developing countries, there is absolute need for organizing the farmers into meaningful groups. Without that, in my considered opinion, farmer cannot sustain in this country. And that was the thinking that was operating in me right 50 years of my long journey at different services and the position that I occupied. Right from 1974 till today, almost is a 50 years journey now. I had the privilege of working with the farmers at different periods. In between, I had the privilege of being the teaching. In between, I had the privilege of being the research. But whatever the capacity I was holding, I used to always keep in the back of the mind, wherever it is possible, if you can able to organize the farmers into meaningful groups, then only it is possible to make them more comfortable to be in the farming. That was the message I always used to give it, and that was the way I used to always put across the things. I will try to share my own experiences right from 1974, how I started myself organizing farmers so that they can be as comfortable as possible in the farming and they can move to realize the income expected for them to sustain in the farming. Way back in 1974, when I joined as extension guide, that gave me a strong foundation. If I am more confident to be with the farmers, be with any people, it is because I had the privilege of working with the farmers in the formative years of my service. And at that point of time, we had multivarious responsibilities. One of the responsibilities was to adopt a village and develop it for all-round development. That is called Whole Village Development Program. And of course, in the first year, we had many other responsibilities. In the second year, we started taking up this Whole Village Development Program. In one of the villages in Mandya district of Karnataka Desh, that is the Kaveri Basin village, where there was sufficient irrigation, everything was there. In the first year, we concentrated mainly on enhancing the productivity of three important major crops that area and that village, that is paddy, ragi and sugarcane. And when we started exhausting all the technology to be transferred in that 1 year, then we are looking for what is the next thing that we can do to these people. Then I thought, then there was enough of fodder available in that village, both paddy and ragi, and even sugarcane thrash was also available. Why you should not go for dairy enterprise which can make a difference for the income of these people? So we trained the young generation to take up, youth to take up dairying, and we also deputed to Esragata, a premier institution where training got to be given on dairy. After coming back, we encouraged them to go for dairy. And after having taken up dairy, the problem of marketing started. Because earlier, whatever the milk that was produced, that was sufficient to take care of the village, and little bit they used to give to neighboring town. But when dairy came with the crossbreed animals, HF and others, then they had a surplus milk production, then the problem of marketing started. Then we went for Milk Producer Cooperative Society, the first society that was established in the district way back in 1975-76. And that is the way we organize the people to take the responsibility of marketing and other related issues. And that youth are also been encouraged to take up poultry, piggery, and young ladies, they have been encouraged to go for nutrition gardening. All this was possible because we organized them into groups. Had it been individual, things would not have been taking place. And in fact, I am very happy to make a mention. One of our PhD students, who happens to be from Maharashtra, who came for deputation to US Bangalore for undergoing the PhD program. When I made a seminar presentation, he was so much inspired, and he conducted a PhD study for that village development program, where a lot of coordination efforts were also done. And he is none other than Dr. A.G. Sawant, which many of our extension colleagues are knowledgeable. Later he became the Vice Chancellor of Dapoli, Konkan Krishi Gyandeep Dapoli, and he was also chairman of the ASRB Delhi, and later he became the president of the INSEE, where I have taken over the responsibility from 2018. That is the journey, one activity that we done in that village. And of course, in between, wherever I had the opportunity, I started working with the farmers to be mobilized for this type of group action. That was there continuously. But very important thing I would like to make a mention. Thereafter, I became the head of the Krishi Gyandeep in one of the Malnad districts of Karnataka, that is Chikmagalur district. There, when we went there, that was the first, initial part of the start of the Krishi Gyandeep. Naturally, we had to do a lot of survey work, baseline work. And when we had the interaction from the farmers, one important message what they gave, sir, if you can speak anything other than paddy, will be very, very happy. I was really surprised. Paddy being an important crop of that area, apart from coffee and other thing, why they are hesitant to take up paddy cultivation. Then I said, sir, there are two important problems. Paddy is not a remunerative crop, number one. Number two, harvesting of paddy and coffee comes around the same time. People go for harvesting of coffee, but nobody will come for harvesting of paddy. So, although we have grown for 5-6 months, we will not get the labor, and we have been so much affected for not getting the labor for harvesting. Sometimes we have to forgo having had grown the crop. That was the type of problem they were expressing. Then we were thinking, what is the alternatives? Then after a consultative discussion with all our scientists and others, I thought, why you should not introduce banana in the low-lying area where there was a perennial source of water was available. And it is interesting, we started taking up in 1986 some demonstrations banana, and by 88 large area of banana came in the entire Chikmagalur district, and very interestingly by 90 it was started spreading to adjoining districts where Malnad situation was also there, like Hassan and Shumaga, which some of you come from that area will be knowledgeable. And the problem was marketing. They started telling, sir, now we are facing the problem of marketing. Then how to address this? Then we promoted Banana Growers Association there, and they took up not only exporting to Arab countries, other thing, in a span of next 2-3 years. That's how the marketing of banana was also addressed. Why I'm trying to bring it here? Because the organized group can alone take up this type of responsibility individually. They find it extremely difficult. That's how we invariably say the farmers' organizations or the farmers' groups are very essential to address the common problems of the farmers. Then the third leg was in 2005, a national project on rural bioresearch complex was given to the university, and I was being made the project coordinator to take up that particular work. The main concept of that particular project was to double the income of the farmers. You are aware of, around that time, there was a move of younger generation away from the villages to urban areas, looking for alternative jobs in the urban areas. Then the government of India thought how to make farming more lucrative and profitable, at least in a span of 5 years, can be able to double the income of the farmers. Then somehow it came to my responsibility to head that project. I started working with a team of 32 scientists and young RAs, about 8 of them, with a full-fledged responsibility, but technical staff, technical backup by the scientists. Then when you worked for 1 year, with although providing critical inputs, know everything timely, we could able to realize at least another 50-55% of increase in yield in most of the crops that are being grown there. But when we started analyzing what is the income realized, it was very, very marginal. Then we looked at why it is happening like this. Then we came to know most of the profit margin was taken away by the middlemen. Whatever the additional yield, whatever they realized, is all being taken away by the middlemen. So we thought, what is the best way of addressing this? Then we started in the first year 4 farmers-based organizations there, so that we can able to help the farmers to realize maximum income for these people. The first one is we started this baby corn growers association because we introduced baby corn there. Maize growers association because maize was also being cultivated and areas expanded when we intervened there. Then we also went for jackfruit growers association, and we also went for the fish farmers association, because we observed in case of jackfruit, very interesting, they hardly used to get about 5,000 rupees. For a jackfruit tree, it should have been about 15 or 20,000 rupees, because the middleman used to come and purchase it, and whatever the amount they used to give, they used to be happy. Then I said, with more than 120 jackfruits in that particular tree, if you are giving only for 5,000, very unfortunate. It should have been anything around 20-25,000. Then they were also being inspired why, how to go about. Then I said, let us start this jackfruit growers association. And like that, in fish farming, inland fish farming, what's happening? There are so many water bodies. Unfortunately, most of them will not be able to bring and leave the fingerlings to those things, because they have to bring from nearly 50 or 60 kilometers away. The transport itself will eat away much of them. Secondly, harvesting individually in marketing is a big problem. Then when you formed the Fish Farmers Association, they used to identify on a particular day how much is required for all those panchayats or the group of panchayats, bring it on one lot, give it to everybody, and see that even the marketing, everything is to be done on every Wednesday and Sunday around that December, January. It used to go like a hot cake. See, when you organize the system will take care of. That's what we could able to do it. Then in the second leg, we went for Biofuel Growers Association. Of course, Dr. Chandrasekhar was making a mention in the university. We made a big momentum of this. In this country, you take this neem, this pangemia, hippe, and couple of them. They are produced in even castor, produced in lakhs of tons. Unfortunately, we are not able to bring it to the mainstream for the reason we have not brought them in the organized group. Because individually they can't think of going there, collecting and processing other things. But in a group, it is being done. And the one interesting thing that what we did for the biofuel, we linked them to the Milk Producer Society for the collection. Because if you establish another parallel mechanism, it will require much of the cost of overhead costs, other things. How to utilize those things, there's also need to be thought about. When you actually work at the grassroots level, many of these things will come. And the biofuel momentum was given to a whole country, and we are happy that whatever that was otherwise going as a waste has been brought to the mainstream. Likewise, even other types of associations were started. Even organic farming farmers association was started. Likewise, value addition processing in millets, particularly ladies, we started that. All this thing made a big impact, and we are happy to make a mention. In 2010, we declared confidently we were able to double the income of the farmers. 2010, and the momentum went like that. By 2013, some of our former Prime Minister was visiting Gujarat for some activity of Gujarat regarding how Modi ji is increasing the income, agriculture growth rate in Gujarat, and he was keenly went there as a chairman of the Parliament delegation of the Government of India. And the rapport meeting, they said, what Professor Narayana Gowda is doing in US Bangalore is much better than what we are doing. Why can't you visit there? He was surprised. And then next day when he came and called me, sir, you please come and visit. I was so much inspired. If I get an opportunity, I want this model to be taken to the entire country. That was the message he gave at the end of the day after visiting the entire activities there. And he was hanging in mind. And in 2015, again he requested me to give a comprehensive report. And that report, according to doubling the income of the farmer, was given to Modi ji. And 2016, Modi ji declared, our Prime Minister of India, that how to go with doubling the income of the farmers in the country. Anyway, all these things are the triggers of the project activity that we did in US Bangalore. But one thing what I am trying to make a mention, because we started these farmers organizations, these were the outcomes, these were the changes that were possible to see. Had it not been there, possibly after the withdrawal of the project, many of the things would not have been said there. It is being continued. And when our President of India came to the convocation, while I was the Vice Chancellor in 2011, when we interacted with the madam in the governor's office for nearly 2 hours, she has so much interest in the farming. And she was so much inspired. Why can't you bring all these people to our President of India office and we'll have a deliberation for one day? I don't think any president in the country has encouraged so much of agriculture-based activities in the office of the President of India in the New Delhi office. And I took at least some 15 farmers who are the presidents and secretaries of the different association. Apart from myself, we accompanied and went. And the Jackfruit Association has made so much impact across the country, and even we got a national project on jackfruit and to identify the best varieties of jackfruit across the country. And now it is being taken up, processing in different parts of the country also, varying degrees, but it will take a momentum, I knew. Marketing, even all people started taking up in a group. They went to our Lal Bagh, some of you are familiar, some important places. They started selling the jackfruit in very important occasion. So the urban used to get this fresh and the good fruit. The point is, a jackfruit that was being sold for 80 to 100 rupees was being sold because of this range more than 500 rupees. Why I am telling, again, it is because of the organized group. My point of concern is, India is having more than 90% of small and marginal farmers. And the situation more or less in most of the Asian countries. Although I am addressing for our own country, but situation more or less one and the same. That being the case, with a very smaller holding, they find it extremely difficult to sustain, to find the inputs required for them, to find the produce that are being produced, marketing of those things, individually they find it difficult. Because in a small farmer context, the celebrity will be also small, unlike a large farmer. A large farmer can afford to take a vehicle, take it to a near place and leave it. But a small farmer whose produce sellable quantity is small, he cannot afford to hire a vehicle exclusive for that. If they hire a separate vehicle, you understand, most of the profit margin will be eaten away for the transport. So, but if they are organized, nothing like that. There is a solution for this. Again, to get a critical input which is very much required, like plant protection or a spare other thing, to run to a nearby place like a taluk headquarter and district headquarter, most of the profit margin will be eaten away for that. But if it is being in a group, all these problems can also be addressed. There are multivarious advantages, and the most important one is organizing this value addition processing, that is the secondary agriculture, which has been given a lot of attention by the government of India. Of course, it needs further strengthening of this thing. Those things cannot be addressed individually for this what is called processing and other things. And if they have been the group, they can pool the entire material, process it, then they can go for branding, packing, marketing, anywhere they want it. Even export also they can think of if they are capable, when the group is being formed. As an individual, it is going to be very, very difficult. And this is the one thing that everyone should appreciate. What should be the future of Indian farming system? That is, the farmers producer organization should be encouraged. Here, one point I would like to make a clarification. Although we use the word farmers producer organization, there are different nomenclature that are being given to this. In some places, it is being called as farmer producer organization. In another place, it is being given as farmer producer companies. Yet another place, farmer based producers association. In another place, farmers interest groups. Multivarious names are being given. But the objective of all these things revolves more around the same, that is bringing the farmers under a common group, aggregation of them, so that they can take up the responsibility jointly, both in the production process, in the valuation processing process, marketing process and other things. And India is one of the richest countries in the world. Unfortunately, we are not able to organize them to the fullest extent. Every year, India is losing more than 94,000 crores of post-harvest losses. Can you imagine? If it is being processed and brought into the mainstream, it can be 2 lakh crores. It's all because we have not brought the entire system of the organized group. How much is being wasted is because we have not brought them in the organized group. Had it been brought on the organized group, it is possible to see that everything is being taken to the mainstream. I will give a couple of examples. For example, you take tamarind. Tamarind in this country, I don't know how many of you have come from Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Every alternate tree is a tamarind there. I have traveled extensively all these states. And unfortunately, it's not been harvested in most of the cases. And when I was chairman of the site selection for the Krishi Kendras of these states, I used to travel very frequently. In the month of July, August, I used to see tamarind is not being harvested. And I was surprised to see why it is not harvested. When I asked them, do you know what the reply gave by the local committee officers and also the external team? They said, sir, there is no market, there is no labor. This is the type of reply I got it. I was very surprised. Then I started telling how to make the groups, youth into groups, then SHGs into groups, how they can take up harvesting, then peeling, and then giving for a neighboring place for processing, then branding, exporting to other countries. After 3 years when I went, which 15 I gave the idea, 18 I went, I was surprised to see they were sending more than 1 lakh bottles of tamarind post to Arab countries, because a system was evolved and is being done. And even in Karnataka also, in Andhra and adjacent states like Maharashtra, Telangana, tamarind, these are all tamarind growing areas. Unfortunately, is not being harvested. Tamarind is such a valuable health-based support system that is there. Unfortunately, it is not being utilized because it is not being brought to the organized sector. And now we are promoting Tamarind Growers Association that will take care of bringing the entire tamarind to mainstream. Of course, there are very many issues that needs to be discussed on this particular area. It's like an ocean. But my point of concern is how to make these farmers organizations being functional, how they can be made to become more functional. That is the aspect that we need to give more attention. One thing, there is no a single answer for this particular question, because in India we have nearly 127 agroclimatic zones. 120 agroclimatic zones means 127 types of crops are there, and so many enterprises are there. There is no commonality. So you cannot have a common farmers organization for the whole country. You need to be very cautious that in every place there is a need for change in the type of farmers organizations, because some food products, some types of producers require lot of care. For example, you take the floriculture. Do you know what is the extent of the exploitation going on in floriculture? Highest exploited. What is the consumer share out of the producers mean? It is hardly about 20%. Consumer has to pay around 80% for that. This is the extent of benefit of shared by the farmer producer against the consumer. Of course, in cereals and pulses, it's around 60%. In fruits and vegetables, the farmer share is only about 30-35% against the consumer. That being the case, you can't think of uniform farmers producer organization across the country. It should be need based, and also the spread of this thing. There are some interventions which are being grown in a concentrated area. There are some interventions they are being spread over a hobli, over a taluk, or a district. Then how to bring them under the umbrella of FPO needs a lot of thinking. Then secondly, the most important is there are some interventions where people come forward to start the organization, where high-tech interventions are there, like you take pomegranate, you go for banana, you go for crops like grapes. People will come easily and they will also be happy to become the members because they are going to get the benefit. But in a low-value intervention like I was mentioning tamarind, biofuels, couple of them, even if you drag them, they find it difficult to come forward to become the members. Even to get a 100 rupees membership, we had a tough time for a biofuel growers association. But we linked it to milk society. We managed to become the indirect members. We did a lot of homework. That is a different story. Why I am telling this, there are some farmers organizations on a particular crop enterprise, easy to farm, but some there will be a lot of difficulty. How to overcome that? The nodal agency has to think over, and there is always a solution for every problem. That's the message which each one should be able to think over and go forward. Then the most important is the selection of the office bearers of this particular FPOs. That becomes very, very crucial, because in a democratic system, enlisting the right people is a big job. Even why the corporate system has failed in this country, because of the political intervention, other thing. But here, similar strategy also works. Then how to overcome this is a big challenge. The nodal agency has to think over what the right people should be headed for this type of farmers organizations. That is the president, secretary, all other office bearers. They should be chosen with the right people. Then it matters very, very crucial in the success of the program. Then coming to the financial support for these FPOs. See what is happening. These are all just like a newly married couple. They hardly have anything to start with. Many an average family check. They not even have a office of their own, furniture of their own, or certain computer, other facilities. Everything has to be looked at from some source. All the membership, whatever they collect, is hardly about 100 rupees, sometimes even maybe 300 rupees. All put together, it may be 1 lakh rupees or 1.5 lakh rupees. How much is the income generated from this is very, very marginal. That being the case, who has to support? The nodal agency which has been coming forward should be able to support their finance at least for 5 years to sustain. Once they remain functioning for first 5 years, then it becomes easy for them to move forward without any difficulty. They can be on their own. Then the financial management, other things, they need to be trained efficiently, particularly CEO who is going to be appointed. They should need to be trained in an institution like Manage, where they give the skill of managing the institutions, financial management, auditing. So many things are going to be known to them. That is very much required. And of course, there are so many things are there. Just some highlights I am giving it to you. Next important thing is they need to be linked to very important institutions. As a nodal agency alone, we will not be able to take care of the institution. They need to be linked to the marketing institution. they need to be linked to the financial institution, they need to be linked to the other development departments, because they become strong when these support systems are there. Who are the needed ones that needs to be thought about carefully? They need to be brought under one fold, so that together we can take forward that particular institution. That is also equally important in the success of a particular program. Then coming to the last is the continuous follow-up and guidance by nodal agency is very much required. You can't leave your son, I have put in a particular institution, he will take care of. You have to give a constant monitoring guidance. Just like that, you need to keep that a constant watch by the nodal agency, how it is functioning, what are the problems, how that can be overcome. Even legal issues also figure sometimes. How to overcome that? That should be thought over well in advance, so that once it gets in legal system, the whole system is going to suffer without functioning for a couple of years. Then how to get back is a big problem. If you can have a forethought for that well in advance, possibly you can overcome this type of legal types of issues without any difficulty, so that sustenance of the institution can be taken care of. So these are some just general clues I am giving, but it's a ocean by itself, how we can manage. Because when the human element is going to be involved, naturally all these problems are bound to come. But if there is a positive mind, is a willing mind, nothing can stop you, nothing can come in the way to take forward. But my considered view is, future of Indian agriculture has to go with organized group of the farmers. If individually they cannot sustain, because you know how much the small and marginal farmers, as I was making mention, as of now it is more than 90%. Maybe in next 10 or 20 years from now, most of them will be small and marginal farmers. With a limited wording, individually they cannot have the voice, they cannot think of standing comfortably, they cannot move forward. So sustainability of Indian farmers goes with organized farmers group. It is very, very essential. There is no second thought. Then technology wise also, we need to back up them, and node agency which is working with them, they should constantly think of what is the type of the technical backup required, so that they can take forward. Very recently, about a month back, I was introduced that I was also a president of the Dr. M.H. Gowda Foundation, one of the dons in horticulture of this country, who made a big impact and devoted to the cause of horticulture. Under his umbrella, we organized one seminar on the tamarind and jamun. And of course, morning I was also talking to our Dr. Sadamateji while walking. So many jamun trees are here, and fortunately most are not even bearing the fruits. I was talking to Chandrasekhar, unless you do the top work, this is not going to be a salvation. So in another 5 years you have to wait. This top working does two jobs in jamun. One thing is, it enables the bearing to take place early. Secondly, the most important one is, you can harvest at a easily accessible height. Otherwise, you allow them to go to about 30-40 feet. Possibly, you can't think of harvesting. Same problem is happening in tamarind. Why? Because in the yesterday, there were young people who used to go and take up the harvesting. Today, when I told why they are harvesting, they said, "Sir, there is no young people at all in the villages. All are old people, sir. What to do? We cannot go and climb the trees. And if you go and climb the trees, possibly next day you have to go for the hospital. So better we have to go for harvesting. That is the time." What I have told our scientists, work on dwarf varieties in tamarind also. That was the message given. Even in this jamun, one of the progressive farmers was being given the honorary doctorate also. He has evolved these dwarf varieties in this jamun. And now, if people can pluck while standing, and easily they can harvest it. Why I am telling, for every problem there is a solution. Let us start working with that, and we will get a solution one day or the other. This is possible. So there is no problem in this country or the globe without a solution. Every problem has a solution. Only thing, you have to apply your independent mind and see that things are being taken forward. I am constantly watching why Chandrasekhar made a difference in this institution, because every time he started applying his independent mind. Last 25 years he is there. Although he is our alumni of US Bangalore, I will be watching how he is performing here. Proud to make a mention that every time when I come over here, I used to find some new thinking, new way of doing things. And that's how he has made this visibility of the institution, not only at the national but also at the international level. So like that, if you can think of in your own radius, in your own area, it is always possible for you. Nothing is impossible. So India is one of the richest countries in the world. As one of our famous poet was telling, it's a poor country because of the poor management. We have become poor because of the poor management. If it is a good management, we can make India one of the richest countries in the world. According to 2018-19 survey, there are 31,000 FPOs are there in this country. And in 1920, Government of India declared 10,000 FPOs to be established, and they also made the budgetary provisions. Out of 31,000 FPOs that are there in this country, as in the 2018-19, we were told not even 15-20% are functional. Most of them are either partial or not even functioning. This is the stage at which they are going. One of the reasons is, when they have established this, they should have thought over whether there is a need for that type of FPO in that area. There are two things. In my course of presentation, I made a mention. In the initial stage of my establishing the milk producer society, other thing, it was more a converting the need into a felt need. That was the exercise we did it. But in case of banana, it was the need came from the people. That is the felt need of the people. They wanted the banana growers society in the Malnad area so that they can take care of the marketing, everything. So whenever the felt need come from the people, then it sustains better. But if there is an imposing of them, then it is finding a problem. Then how to convert them? Because some interventions are equally important. Some technology is equally important. How to convert them? That's where we need to make a change as an educationist. We have to convert them, we have to help them to understand, appreciate how important this FPO in terms of enabling it to make it increase the productivity, increase the going for validation processing, branding it, marketing it, everything can be taken care of if you are going to be brought on the organized group. This type of education has to be done. Even if they are not being convinced, they can be taken to a place where similar FPOs are being established, successfully running, so that the confidence building matters very, very important. What is happening, most of the hurriedly they started and they landed in problem of not taking forward. This is the one reason what I have observed. Secondly, all FPOs, they need to be supported with reasonable financial support for a period of 5 years. Even in the recommendation what we have brought in 2023, our national seminar year 22-23, we have made a specific mention, which Dr. Chandrasekhar also is aware, knowledgeable, that for a minimum of 5 years, the nodal agency or the government supporting this should be able to provide financial support to the extent of 20 lakhs, wherein it should be spread over for 5 years, like 30%, 25%, 20%, 15%, 10%, so that by the time 5th year is over, they should be able to stand and run. Once they are running, they should be left. This is one area that needs to be given serious thought. Otherwise, they are starting and living, they will not sustain it in the long run unless they have a strong base. Okay.
Actually, sir, there was a lot of focus from the government as well, like forming 10,000 FPOs and all. But later, recently, there was the establishment of a Ministry of Cooperation. Actually, some say that the FPOs are formed, they overcome this short lacuna what was there in the cooperatives, incorporating the business aspect. So I see like why there is again this Ministry of Cooperation establishment, and what difference we can draw, sir, from FPOs.
This clarity is required. All the FPOs in the country, maybe different nomenclatures are there. Both centrally sponsored FPOs, state sponsored FPOs. Nomenclature may be changing. Ultimately to help the farmers. And they are all under the purview of the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. They are not brought under the Ministry of Cooperation. Be clear about this thing. Even recently, an expert group is being constituted by the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, wherein they are going to bring a national policy on FPOs, under which they wanted to see that all these problems are being given a comprehensive solution. That is being started now. In fact, that policy is under circulation, where last week itself I gave a lot of suggestion how this can be made pro farmer, pro FPOs, pro rural people, all those things brought under that particular recommendation. We hope that a strong base will be given to the FPOs in the coming days. But don't go with the understanding they come under the Ministry of Cooperation. It is under the Ministry of for agriculture and farmers' welfare. Very clear. That is the nodal agency being identified by the government of India.
The FPOs have been established, but right now they are functioning mostly on the input supply type. They need to transform into procurement as well as marketing of the produce. That is what is equally important, because farmers are actually congregation or becoming together to have this up in the FPO. Probably this.
See, in some of the FPOs, we are in the initial stage of or the formative phases, they take up input management, that is, sale of some critical inputs, some farm implements, all those things that is there. But over a period, they should be able to move to what is called enhancing the productivity, going for validation processing, and most important thing is the marketing. Because we all knew, even in the raw produce also the marketing, I gave a picture, how much is the farmer share with the consumer payment, right? That if you want to narrow down, that there is a necessity of this farmers producer organization to be very active in marketing. If that is being done, certainly is possible. And even I gone a step forward, there are some producers we can export to other countries. I was telling in Bassar division of Chhattisgarh, when you give an idea in 2015, 2018 they started exporting to Arab countries just within 3 years. And I was surprised because I went in 2018 to select another KVK, Sukma KVK, you know, Sukma district, how many of you are aware of, I don't know, the biggest Naxalites in the country. And 84 CRPs are there in the country. Just imagine how much problem we are also having in the central part of India. Even there, I could see that they are exporting to Arab countries. There are 5 districts in that Bassar division. 1 district is Sukma, rest of them are fairly comfortable. From that particular district, they are producing a lot of tamarind paste and powder. They are exporting to Arab countries. Why I am telling this? Only thing, there should be, as you rightly mentioned, a good technical backup is required for these FPOs so that they can become strong, including marketing, validation, processing, linking to the places where there is a demand. As a farmer in a remote place is a group, they will not be knowledgeable about where there is a demand for this product. This person, nodal agency, or the people who are backing them, they should be able to guide. Then only they can sustain and come forward. You fully agree with that? Yeah.
In your vast journey, have you found any difficulties or obstacles in the formation and the successful organization of the FPOs, means dairy based compared to the crop based? And if you see the dairy based, mainly the product validation is quite comfortable when compared to the agriculture, and even they are more tenable to the even counter the natural calamities also. So what is your experience in this also?
Entire dairy milk that is being produced as a demand locally, and there is no surplus to a greater extent. What is being produced, marketed in the respective areas, therefore there is no much problem. Even excess production now, the government of India is thinking of exporting to other countries, milk products, other thing that is there. But in other producers, it is difficult to find a same analogy in terms of the demand for various producers. But if the government were to explore, the Ministry of Commerce, which is the main concern with this type of export other thing, if they can export for different producers, which are the ones, which are the places they can be sold, it should be possible. For example, very recently, just 2 days back, I am keen to work on, I am so much involved in the validation processing in coconut. You know, coconut is an important crop in the entire coastal belt of this country, including the adjoining states. So much is being produced. Sometimes the rates will go like 7-8 rupees, and if that is the case, many times it is not even taking care of the cost of production. Then we thought, unless we go for validation processing, this problem cannot be solved, right? Then we are encouraging various validated product, particularly virgin coconut oil, which has a huge demand. Unfortunately, it has not been taken to the extent possible. I requested him to carry 3 bottles of this virgin coconut oil, let it be released through the Honorable Prime Minister of India, so that everybody can think of utilizing this virgin coconut oil. Yet another thing why I am emphasizing this, India is importing every year almost 75,000 crores of edible oil. Do you need to be imported from other countries when there is enough of the produce is available in the country? Such a healthy one. This is being called as Amruta. One of our famous international known doctor by name B.M. Megade, who is a Padma Bhushan recipient, he said, it is like Amruta. If we cannot use it, what is that we can tell? It has got multivariate benefits, like your heart problem, your other itching problem, even color problem, many things it will take care of. Why can't we use it? When you are in our own house, why are not using it? And now it is taking a momentum. Why I am telling is, some of the products, like even tamarind, you take it, tamarind has so much of medicinal benefits. Tamarind. Unfortunately, we are not harvesting, even leave alone taking forward for the home consumption. Reason being, many people are not being properly educated. Even the tamarind seed powder, I was told by some of our officers, sir, after having started using, all our arthritis problem. Yeah, this problem has been totally taken care of because we are using this tamarind powder. Reason being, tamarind powder is rich in, tamarind seed powder is rich in this calcium, and it can take care of. Many people who have started using, they have not gone to the hospital for operation after having taken this. Why I am telling this, there are all our food habits in this country, if they are being properly educated, utilized, we can minimize health related issues also. That type of education also need to be done, and it requires the government to take the initiative, because a small FPO cannot do everything. There, the government should come forward to the rescue of the farmers to see that they are being empowered on these things. Okay.
So recently I read an article in a newspaper where the NGO Pradhan, it has promoted a women SHG in Odisha, and it has facilitated the SHG members to export mangoes worth rupees 10 lakh to London market. So my question to you is, sir, how can we make use of NGOs and SHGs in strengthening FPOs? What is your insight on this, sir?
See, FPO is a bigger organization consisting of like minimum of 300 members, 500 members, like that, even much more than that. Whereas SSGs, it is anything around 20, 25, and they confined to a particular village. That's where they are there. But as an SSG, they find it extremely difficult to go for large scale production and also particular validation processing and linking to the external market. Suppose you want to send a particular unit of produce to external market, all people will demand, no, it should be a minimum of this much of quantity, right? A given quantity alone will be taken in ship other thing to the other country. So as an SEO, you find it difficult. Through FPOs, where you are aggregating at least some 50, 60 SSGs, it should be possible to see that this type of initiatives are being taken up. That's the reason why larger FPOs are essential to address many of these problems. So let me congratulate Manage having initiated this particular KG that is called Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series, inviting some eminent people who are well versed with the particular subject matter area for the benefit of the each one, so that it will enlarge your thinking, enlarge your ways of taking forward many things. It will certainly help. And I should congratulate Dr. Chandrasekhar for taking up this very important initiative. Similarly, well supported by Dr. Renuka Rani. Both of them I congratulate. And I also congratulate each one of you, particularly those who have raised the question, who have gone deep into the issues, who have gone into that. Certainly I feel proud of you and see that they are being taken forward. All the best wishes to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us valuable input. It's a wonderful session we had, particularly on how to strengthen farmers producers organizations. And you see, starting from almost 5 decades, you have worked on this area. And starting from farmers, how to form the farmers producer organization, strengthening a farmers producer organization, converting them into a different levels, either in technical aspects or skill oriented or financial support. All these convergent manner, you shared your experiences. And particularly you mentioned about presently this traders or other whoever is purchasing the produce from the farmers, they are empowered. And see, I request to all of us is we have to empower the farmers. Traders are empowered and they are utilizing the money and at the cost of farmers. Farmers are working at the field level almost months together, but within no time the traders are carrying the produce from the farmer and getting the money, but the farmers are not benefiting. And you mentioned very clearly about this, and we have to empower the farmer. And how to empower the farmer? Through these farmers producers organizations, and it's our responsibility for all of us to empower the farmers through this organization, not only from small groups like SHGs and other things, and these small SHGs also to become as a FPOs or FPCs or any other support organizations for the upliftment of the farming community. And you rightly mentioned, sir, that our responsibility is very high, and even managed responsibility, our managed FPO academy is also looking after on that. And each one of us responsibility is very high on empowerment of the farming community and empowerment of FPOs also. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us this valuable input. Now I request our Director General to give us valuable remarks on this.
Dr. K. Narayana Gowda for nearly 35-40 years. He is a thorough practitioner. Never deal with theory. Actually, theory we have to see in the book. But if you want practical solutions, you can listen to him. Every word which came out of his mouth is coming from, the experience. In fact, we are fortunate to have talk from Dr. K. Narayana Gowda. In fact, he wanted to say that we have also established Manage FPO Academy on 1st January 2022. So initially people were asking, where is the building? Academy building. People see any academy in terms of building only, cement. So we used to tell that, any academy is a life activity. So today we got a big project from Jammu and Kashmir. We are supposed to promote 300 farmers producers organizations. And sir, we got around 4 crores. And for next 4 years, we will be working with Jammu and Kashmir government. So if we can make this program successful in Jammu and Kashmir, I think in other states, easily it is possible. It is a very tough experimental laboratory for us. We will put all the energy from Manage to make this program successful, it becomes an inspiration for others. So out of, the talk given by Professor, just I would like to highlight 1 or 2 important points. Number 1, he talked about dairy. See, dairy is a additional occupation for farmers. So studies says that farmers are occupied for 187 days. At least half of the year they are free, whether they can make use of the additional time for any additional income generating activity. So dairy is one, and crop diversification is a value addition in their thinking, actually converting agriculture into agribusiness. So replacing paddy with banana is a great intervention, because paddy, you don't have much profit margin, but labor intensive and not good for nature also. So that is replaced by the banana is another important thing. And bioresource center establishment and dealing with the jackfruit and castor and neem, like the wasted resources. It is not waste resources, it is wasted actually resources. In fact, Professor mobilized school children in holidays, motivated school children, rural children to go to different neem and castor trees and collect the seeds and earn some money in holidays. Just with available resources and time, they can add some income. So secondary agriculture, he talked about processing. That is one of the biggest opportunity before every farmer. And commodity specific groups, it will become a felt need actually of the group. So wherever felt needs are there, they will become more successful. So whether it is dairy, crop diversification or biofuels, one thing is common, that is group of farmers. So always many is better than one. This is what the message given by Professor. And it is very important to bring convergence. See, we have problems, we also have solutions. So we have certain programs which are very much suitable for farmers producers organization. You take it as Agri Infrastructure Fund, take it as 10,000 farmers producers organization, or you take Prime Minister Kisan Sampada Yojana. Their food processing is very much focused. So all these programs probably they give economic strength to farmers producers organizations, and group should be around a particular problem, then they share common objective. See, you can't paste on somebody's mind, this is the discipline and objective you have to follow. It has to come from their heart. And when they experience a problem and you bring farmers around a problem, that group becomes more successful. Second important observation is a strong leadership. You take Sahyadri Farms, you take Abhinav Farmers Club, you take Mulknoor Cooperative Society. In all the cases, a good leader formed a good farmers producers organization. But good leaders, sometimes they are born. They are in these cases, we are fortunate. But not all the cases you get a born leader. So they have to be trained. For that purpose, we have started CEO training program, and that is only one. But sir, in fact, in extension, we don't give much importance to leadership building. Whether it is a SHG, whether it is a CIG, whether it is FPC, whether it is cooperative, whether it is youth clubs, everywhere success depends on the leader, but we are not training leader. In fact, we cannot exclude panchayats also. If panchayat president is visionary, just like Popatrao Pawar, he can produce a model village, Hire Bazar in Maharashtra. Many of our friends are from Maharashtra. So leader determines the success of the group. That is one important aspect which we have all through ignored in extension. I think we have to concentrate on that. Of course, a good business plan is also very, very important. So all these things coming out of the professor experience is shared. Thank you very much, sir. In fact, for mobilizing a very successful group, in some other context he was telling, he conducted 42 meetings. It is not easy. So producing a very successful farmers producers company is not issuing an order or not rating some 1,000 names on the register, but it is the heart and mind should be invested, and they have to work in a dedicated manner. Then only we can produce a very successful farmers producers organization. Beginning it is difficult, but once they are formed, they will not look back. They can inspire 1,000 other farmers organizations. Thank you very much, sir, for this very valuable experience sharing. I am sure this talk will also be enjoyed by lakhs and lakhs of audience in the days to come. Thank you very much.